probably around Baird Guthrie Center in there someplace. And we come to Nebraska when I was 7 weeks old, and we landed in Belmont, Nebraska. We come through the town of Alliance on the passenger train at that time with my dad, Aaron Eversull, and my mother, Nettie Bell Hammer. That was her maiden name. And my oldest brother, Jay, and then Charlie, and my sister Minnie, and Vern, and Myrtle, and and Harold, and my twin brother Warren. And
did you live on a farm up there?
No, we lived in the town of Belmont at that time. We was right in the town, and there was a couple of grocery stores and different stuff there. There was a woman there that we called her Granny McKee, and she smoked a pipe all the time, and she had run one of the stores. And
what did your dad do for work?
Well, my dad was a carpenter, and he does building and all over the Pine Ridge and out in Sioux County and different places. Just that's the way that's what his occupation was. And then typhoid fever. He caught typhoid fever in 1910, and had one brother, Harold, died, and my dad died about 2 weeks apart. And then after about 2 years, that was in 1910, and after about 2 years, my mother remarried, and we moved to Sioux County then on a homestead.
Did you ever go to school in Belmont?
No, I never did go to school.
You didn't go to school there?
The older kids, from Myrtle on up.
You left out Effie.
No, they went to school there, but I never did. I started school in a sod schoolhouse on the homestead in Sioux County. But I had a sister born after we got to Belmont, and her name is Edna. She married Frank Perry, which lives in Hemingford now. And I started school in Sioux County on this homestead in a sod schoolhouse. And the first 3 teachers I ever went to was men teachers. And they sold the homestead and moved into Box Butte County in about 1915.
Was that on a farm too?
And there was on a farm there, yeah. I lived on a farm. And the farm belonged to Ed Ford, a fellow named Ed Ford.
And your stepdad farm for him then?
What?
Your stepdad farmed for him then?
Yeah, and my oldest brother, Jay. They was in together.
About him and 2 more half-sisters.
Well, while I was on the homestead, there was a half-sister born by the name of Mary. And then 2 years later, there was another half-sister by the name of Effie. Yeah, it come along into the family. But then in about 1915, we moved into Box Butte County. And there I went to school in there in another side schoolhouse. And
your twin brother was still living at that time?
Yeah, he was still living. And then when we finally moved from this was what they called the Emmett Johnson place, this last place we lived on in western Box Butte County, known as High Pocket Johnson. And then we moved to the Taylor Ranch, the GL Taylor Ranch at Nonpareil in Sand Canyon, and we was there for about 9 years on that farm.
How long did your mother and your stepdad live together?
Oh, they lived together for 10, 12, 14 years.
Okay, when you was on this last one you just talked about, did you work on it any yourself, you?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And the first day's work I ever done away from home, I helped Dow and Meeker, I guess it was in partnership, round up cattle, and I got 50 cents for that first day's work and furnished my own horse that day.
It was your horse. What was the horse's name?
I think I was riding Dandy then. He was him, called him Dandy.
And he was rounding up cattle.
Round up cattle, yeah, for Dow and Meeker. Mm-hmm. They lived out in there. And
how did you go to school when you went to school in those schoolhouses?
well, generally we either walked or get up early in the morning and go out, get us a couple of ears of corn, go out, pasture and walk around till we found a horse to ride or a team so we could hitch up and drive to school.
Okay, if you rode a horse to school, if you caught one and rode it to school, what'd you do? Just have to kind of dry it up and just leave it stand out there till you got out of school?
Yeah, we just rode in school, and this one school had a kind of a barn there, shed.
And you put it in there?
We could put them in there for, or we just time out. They stayed there all day till school was out, and then we'd ride them home at nights.
Okay, what was your second job then?
Well, my second job was just around home and helping with folks and doing things. And
you meant your second job working out, didn't you?
Well, whatever.
Well, I worked for this hay in it for G.L. Taylor Ranch and the Hughes Ranch at Marsland and putting up hay and stuff like that,
And how old was you about then?
Oh, I was probably about, I suppose I started out to really working out about 12, 14 years old. And just kept it up all the rest of my life.
Okay, then I want you to say something about that jockey riding. I want that on there.
Riding horses and racehorses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we would attend rodeos and entertainments, go to rodeos.
Okay, about how old were you when you started doing that?
I was too old. I just don't remember how old I was, but probably.
17?
Oh, no, I was younger than that. Probably 15, 16, 14, something along there.
Okay, and that was where at when you was jockeying?
Well, for different ones, I'd go to Crawford. They'd have fairs up there. I'd go up there and ride horses in the races. Marlin had a booster day down there. I'd ride horses in the different ones for different guys,
Mm-hmm.
And at Nonpareil. And
what about that horse race you was telling me about before when you said that what horse was you riding when you said you was almost, you was second, and then when you came to the corners when you overtook him and won the race? Was that your horse or Uncle Chuck's? Uncle Vern's?
Yeah, that horse belonged to Vern.
To Vern.
Yeah.
Where was that?
And what was that horse's name?
That was Judy.
Judy.
And that was in Marsland. At a Booster Day celebration down there.
Okay, and then that other guy wanted you to ride that little horse.
Yeah.
Now, where was that at?
This was in Crawford.
And what was that horse's name?
I don't know what her name was because he was from out of town. He was...
Well, didn't you say it was a sorrow or something?
Well, I run this Charlie Squibbs.
Okay.
He had a sorrel horse up there, and I rode him in the races. And
was he the smaller one?
no, he was a sorrel, kind of a saddle horse. Well, he might have had black feet, might have been white. But anyway, this George Sellers from up the river there, he had a little brown mare there, and he wanted me. I outrun him in this first race, and he wanted me to ride his brown mare in the second race, in the cow pony race. So I did. I took her and put her in the cow pony race. Of course, I won both days on her. And in the third day, when I rode her up on the track, the judges barred her. They wouldn't let her run no more.
Why?
Because she's too fast for their cow ponies.
So, you didn't get a ride then?
And of course,
He had a horse he called Ginger. He always would have done it.
Yeah, Ginger was his horse's name, and Charlie
Yeah,
Spitz.
stocking feet, I think I
Well, it had the white. I know it had white feet behind. Well, he's the one that I couldn't stop to jump the fence, the racetrack fence, and
Just went on, huh?
went damn near clear uptown with me before I got him stopped.
Okay, so, and then he was talking about when you used to, I don't know, you and Uncle Vern hitched up horses or something?
Yeah, we living out there on the farm in Sand Canyon, and we would come clear. We used to clear down here to Alliance out northeast of what, and we had a little sorrel mare called Tilly, and we put her in the race out here, about 15 miles northeast of Alliance here.
And whose horse was that?
That was Vern's.
Vern's
Yeah,
horse?
it was, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, late, which was later was mine.
Okay, and how about that horse Castle? Did you say you rode him in the...
Yeah, well, that was Chuck's, one of my brother Chuck's horses. Yeah, and we won a lot of races with her too. And
Is that the one where you remember that picture that had the cars and everything?
that's her with where I'm standing down there shooting that rifle.
Yeah.
That's Cass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you rode races with her?
Yeah, and I rode her to school a lot too.
Did you?
Yeah. And she was just good old saddle horse all the way around. But and we just entertained like that. Went out to dances on Saturday nights, different places, side houses, bar dances, all that kind of stuff. That's about the way we lived. Yeah, and of course I was only about 5 years old when my dad died. And
I don't think you told him when you was born.
no, well, I probably should tell you that. I was born in 1905.
December 17th.
December the 17th.
And you remember
And, well, it
your
was,
dad died from typhoid.
yeah, but when we was born, there's a woman that offered her, my mother, if she'd let her name us, why she would furnish our clothes for a year.
Hey,
So she did, and that's where we got our name, Word and Warren.
so she named you. Do you
Yeah.
remember the lady's name?
You know, I don't remember her name, but the joke was when Warren was born ahead of me, see, and I remember Mother telling about, now I didn't know what was a doctor, or this woman that call him a midwife, what was her as a doctor, but they come out and told my dad. And he said, my mom said, he said, not another one. Yeah, not another one.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
So he was born before you?
yeah, 30 minutes.
30 minutes? Yeah, that's a long time.
And he died in 1930.
And that was from typhoid too?
Yeah, now see, no, he's sugar diabetes.
When I ruptured appendix.
Yeah, sugar diabetes, ruptured appendix. Well, then he was, 1905 to 30 that'll be 20.
25.
Well, I think he's 24.
When he died.
24 years old he died, yeah.
I wonder how that lady got your names. I mean, why did she like those names? Did your mom ever say?
No, she never
Why
did.
she like one pick those names?
No, she never did say. But she just said she just offered to do that, so she just got her names.
Okay, now the oldest brother was what? What was his name?
J.
What?
William Jacob.
William Jacob. And
Yeah.
the second one was,
Charles Milan.
okay.
And then Minnie Jane. And then Vern Franklin. That was my dad's name, Aaron Franklin. And he was named after him, Vernon Franklin. And then I had a brother by the name of Harold. Well, he died in 1910. I think he died about 2 weeks before my dad did.
And he's the one that had typhoid.
He had typhoid fever, yeah.
And his name was Harold
Yeah.
Levilo.
Yeah, Harold Vilo, yeah. And then had a sister, Myrtle Loretta was her name. And then I and My twin brother Warren. And then Edna was born in Nebraska.
Edna, what's her middle?
Elvina. Yeah.
Well, wasn't Minnie's name something besides Minnie?
Jane, that's what I
No, but
said.
I mean, was her real first name Minnie, or was it something else?
No, Minnie Jane.
Oh, well, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And, well,
You ought to tell what
well,
one of them's last name was so they could have some
well,
connection when they married.
we shouldn't have done this till we got it.
No, it's okay, because I want it this way. I want it just spontaneous.
But I tell who Minnie married.
Well, Minnie married Bill Kane
From
he used to be from around Girard, which is Montreal now. You know, it was Girard.
He Bert married.
And Jay married Viola Mansfield.
So I've never heard her last name.
And Vern married Alice Britton from up in the ridge, and well, Jay's wife was from up in the ridge too.
Then Uncle Vern got married after that.
Yeah, well, she died in later years, and then he married again. Vern did. Yeah.
Married twice, didn't he?
Well, he married, I think, 3 times. Let's see. No, twice. He married twice. And Chuck, he didn't get married till later years, and he
Who
married.
Vern married the second time? The third time?
Well, he married.
Girly, what was her?
He married this here.
Somebody before Aunt Girly?
Yeah, Summers. Her name is. Yeah, I can't think of her first name right now.
And then he married Girly.
Girly Shimmick,
Girly,
which was Jake Shimmick's wife.
yeah, well, what's her name? Girly
Jackson.
Jackson.
Maiden name was Girly Jackson. And Mert married Raymond Corns.
And where was he from?
He was from Pennsylvania,
He was from
Pittsburgh. And Edna married Frank Perry. And I married Viola
Watson.
Yeah, Viola Faye Watson from.
You go finish telling who Chuck married.
Well, Chuck married an in-law. Her name was In-law. Now, Corey In-law from northeast of Marlton. He was getting pretty old when he got married. Chuck was, and he was no spring chicken.
Well, then tell who married and
Then my half sisters. Effie married a Barker from out on Squaw Creek, east of
tell what
Crawford.
happened to him.
And they got hit with a train on the railroad crossing, and both was killed, and one of the boys was
Just
killed.
by Horseshoe Bend.
In between Crawford and Belmont. And she married Ellis Adamson. And they lived in Crawford till he died, and then now she lived in Hemingford.
And she married Frank.
And she married Frank Perry since then.
Okay, how did you and Mom meet?
Well, the way we met was they was building the dam up there at Guernsey, Wyoming. Big dam out there. And my mother and Vern my brother went up there to look for some land, see. And my mother went with him.
Was he going to buy this land? Is that why?
Well, he's going to try to buy some land up there because it's cheap. So my mother went with him to visit my sister Minnie up there. She lived in Guernsey, and her husband was a hostler at the Roundhouse at Guernsey. So they went up there, and when they come back, my sister Mert and Ray Corns worked there on that dam. We were working on the dam. So they sent word back with my mother for me to come up there and
Work.
and board with them and work on the dam. So I had been working with Charlie Evans in the potato cellar. But then I left there and went up there and went to work on the dam. And, getting ahead of the story, we had met before.
You knew who she was before you went to work up there?
No, that's when I got acquainted with her. And then my I was there for a year or two that way, working there, and then when the dam was finished, I come back down here and went to work, and worked for John Duhon in 1927 through the summer. That fall, I went back up there. Something led me back up there.
Yeah, but where did you meet her at? I mean, was you at a show or at a dance or in Jersey?
No, she was a girlfriend of my niece's, Ella Kane.
Okay, who's the daughter of who?
Of Minnie Kane.
Of Minnie.
Yeah, she was Minnie, my sister's daughter, Ella.
Ella's friend.
Yeah, they're about the same age, and they went to school together. Mm-hmm. So that's where I met her, through her.
So you were staying with them?
Yeah.
And then maybe she came home with Ella?
Yeah. And
I never knew that before.
Of course, she was going with another guy at the time, but a fellow named Henry Houston.
Henry Houston?
Yeah. And
what was he? Was he about her age too?
Yeah.
Really?
And well, my sister's husband, Bill, Minnie's husband, was related to Houston, see. And he related to this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And how I come to get in, I don't know.
So where was the first place you took her then? On a date? I mean, or do you remember? Like,
oh, I expect it was to a show or a dance. I would doubt, because that's about the only place where it's going to picture shows, silent shows, you know.
Was you shy?
No, well,
when you first met her and started talking? And
I don't know. I doubt it.
He wasn't shy.
I doubt it. I just doubt
I don't think after you.
I doubt it. But,
okay, so then you came back down here and worked, and then you went back up there.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
Well, that's when we got married. The next,
you just started
back
going
up there
together?
to follow up, and I went back out to the dam and went to work on a house project.
And she just dropped this Houston guy?
Yeah, and then we was married for July.
And then you lived where?
Well, lived there and worked on the railroad at Guernsey on the section.
You had your own place?
Yeah.
You didn't live with grandma?
No, I had lived in what they did call a depot at one time, but
I thought you worked on the railroad up there and just before you was married, you lived in a little old shack.
we did. That's what this depot was, but it was just a one room deal. And before I was married, I did live in a boxcar there.
Well, when he was working on the railroad.
And bats.
That's what I thought.
But after I got married, we moved in this old
Depot.
what it's supposed to be, but it is.
That's right, and you got married in Fort Laramie, didn't you? That little house, that white house along the road there.
Yeah.
And when was your married date? I mean, when was your anniversary? July?
Yeah, what was it? First, second July, which was it? I just look at it. Seemed like the second.
Oh, go ahead and talk, Mom.
Seemed like the second July.
Yeah, it was July something. But, okay, so you lived in Guernsey then, and now you lived in this depot.
Yeah.
And how long did you work there about?
Well, I worked that one summer after we was married, and things began to go kind of haywire. That hard times began kind of hit because I was in 1928, and things was going downhill. So I wasn't sure of a winter's job. So that's the reason I come back down to Nebraska.
To where?
To Hemingford. Mm-hmm. And my sister Mert and Ray, her husband, we all lived there in Hemingford together. We worked in the spuds in the fall, picking spuds and doing all what we could around. And after that, we moved in there in a house 4. And we picked corn for Charlie Evans and anything to get through the winter. Just went out there, pick corn, help thrash, and do anything to get through the winter. And then Charlie was wanted me to go to work for him, so he fixed up a shack out there for us to live in. And that was in the spring of 29.
Okay, and that was just you and Mom?
Yeah.
Now, did you have Burl or any kids at that time?
No, not yet, because we moved out in the early spring of 29, and Burl wasn't born till July. But anyway, then I worked for him until August of 32. Then I up there and moved to Hemingford. We went to work for Merle Rosenberger in Hemingford.
And what did you do for him?
Farm. Yeah, farm.
So where'd you live then? Just on the farm? House on the farm?
Well, we lived in Hemingford part of the time, and then out on one of his farms part of the time. But the first year I worked for him, we lived on one of his places. Then we'd quit. We'd work till November, and then we'd go to work by the hour. We worked by the month, and then we'd go to November. We'd go to work by the hour. Then we'd go to town and live in town, because there was where all the work was, in the spud cellars and stuff like that. That's where we worked all the time.
And how long did you live in Hemingford then?
Oh, I lived in and around Hemingford, well, like I say, ever since 1915.
Well, I mean, like after you married Mom and you lived up there, before, because I know, then you moved down here, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I was in there from, say, 1928, in the fall of 28, till in the spring of 1950. Then we moved to Lyons.
Spring of 1950.
Yeah. So,
well, because I was born in 50.
We moved down here in 50, just after that 49 blizzard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, because I was born in February of 50.
Yeah.
Because I think you moved down here just after Olivia was born, because she was...
Yeah, because Olivia was born up there.
Well, I think you might have, I don't know where we moved, left you was born or not. In 50.
Well, anyway, I was born at the hospital here.
Yeah, you was born here, and then Denny, well, we lived up there when Denny was born, but I think, we still live in Hemingford when you was born. And then come down in the spring of 50.
Yeah, because I'd been born in the winter of 50.
Yeah. I think we come down here in the spring of 50 after, it seemed like there was some snow up there in the building, house that we had blowed in there that when we moved down here that time.
And you bought the house then that you moved into, that little house?
Well, I had already bought it. I bought it in about 47, the place. Mm-hmm. And then I bought the lumber from Charlie Evans out there, tore down the building and bought the lumber, and then hauled it down here and built the house.
And then after you got the house built, then we moved down?
Well, no. I built a house, and then a guy came along and wanted to buy it. So I sold it to him. And he couldn't pay for it, so I had to take it back. I took it back, and then we moved down in the spring of 50. But this was before that yet.
Okay, and then you moved down in the spring of 50, and then you lived in that little house for about how long?
Well,
because when we was building our house over at Hemingford, we come down here and we went out there. You're still working on it, because I dug up some irises out there and so we'd pay to take up home when we built that.
I don't know, just
even 53 we built that.
It was when they was selling these buildings out there.
It was around 53, because we come from less than 53, and that's when we was working on our house over there. We bought our house over in 53 or 54.
Well, it was because I was working for Masonic at the time.
Because I and Faye both dug up some irises out there. They were different color, and we'd seen it.
And a lot of times we worked up Shadow Park. Mm-hmm. And I'd go up there and work 10 hours a day and then come back here at night and lay blocks, that foundation around there, and put in the footing till 11 o'clock. I had a light out there. That floor lamps got the light on, set it out there, lay blocks and put in that foundation till 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Okay, you was working for Mishnik then,
Yeah.
And then when did you go back to work for Hagemaster?
Well, I'd been working for Hagemaster off and on all the time, but there'd be spurts, I'd work for him, and then go someplace else and work, and then go back and work for him, and then go someplace else. I was working for Hagemaster when I moved down here, and we built that warehouse out there, the Panhandle warehousing out east of town, and filled up full of corn at for $156,000. And then